Good evening, everybody. Hey, it's Mario, Motorcycle Knuckle Busters. We're back with you with another great guest. Really looking forward to this guest. This guy is just one of the best. Um, Anybody that's had an opportunity to meet him, cross paths with him, I'm sure walks away with the same impression that I've always had about him. If you make it down to Texas, really his place down in Texas is a must-stop place to go check out because you're going to get everything from a cold beer, check out cool bikes, cars, trucks, just name it, you've got it. It's there. So without any further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Rick Fairless.
Hi,
Hey,
y'all.
Rick, what's going on, man?
Okay, so I got a critique right off the bat, Mario. A critique. Okay?
Yeah.
So I look behind you and you got nothing. You got a white wall, a parchment wall. Look behind me.
Well,
Put,
I see that.
put some atmosphere in there, buddy. Give us
Well,
something to look at beside your ugly face.
well, you know what? I'm just, I want to make myself the focal point, but
Uh,
actually, I'm traveling and I'm down in Tennessee, and I got some folks that graciously gave me some space so I could jump on here. But when I get back up to Wisconsin, Illinois, there we've got a studio, and we'll jazz that up a little, and not be so damn boring because you're the man of colorful,
yeah. I do like color. That's for sure.
Absolutely. So, Rick, I mean, I really appreciate you coming on with us and talking with us, and I hope people enjoy this as much as I know I'm already enjoying it and stuff. But I want to talk about you, talk about your life and stuff. So, Rick, I look at some of these old pictures of you and things you've done. So, you were born in Dallas, Texas. Um, you were raised down there. And so what was your early influences? What got you into bikes?
From the time I was a kid, I've lived in Irving, Texas, which is, a suburb of Dallas. It's where the
Sure.
airport and all that is. I've lived in Irving, Texas all my life. I was born in Dallas because there was no hospital in Irving. When I was born, my mom was 17, and 11 months later, my brother was born. My mom was 18. And my brother's one of the top attorneys in the country. My mom used to dress us like twins and would say, "Ma, we're not twins." We'd be 7. "We're not twins," and she'd say, "You're 11 months. You're Irish twins." And so
Ah,
to this day, my brother went to A&M, and then he went to University of Houston Law School, and he never came home. So he's still down in the Houston area, and he has his own practice, and he's still my best friend. And so we grew up riding mini bikes. I had a great uncle that had a ranch, and he had some horses and some dune buggies, and he had a couple of mini bikes. And I didn't care about the horses, and I didn't care about the dune buggies. I loved those motorcycles. So from the time I was like 7 years old until today, I've never been without a motorcycle.
exactly. And it's ironic because a lot of us we get talking about that. We talk about those mini bikes,
Right.
that. Or for me, the first thing was I had a Schwinn Great Crate. The
Right.
little toppers, and then moving out to the farm and mini bikes and running around the farm. It just you find a love for it right away.
And then
So
where was the farm at?
northeastern Ohio, little town called Andover, so
Okay.
not too far from Cleveland.
Okay.
So, so it went from the mini bikes and everything else. So how did that bring us to all of this? I mean,
You
how
know,
did
you
that continue to evolve?
when we had the mini bikes, and then once we turned like 14, 15, my dad said, "Hey, you boys will be old enough to start driving." We're still riding like little SL70 and stuff like that. And my dad said, "You guys better start thinking about, getting a job so you can have your first car." And we said, "Dad, we don't want a car. We want a motorcycle." My dad said, "I get it. They're fun to ride, but you're going to want a car to go to and from school and to go on dates on and all that." And we said, No, no, sir, we want a motorcycle. And he said, okay, well, you save up half the money, figure out what you want, get a job, save up half the money, and we'll go get a couple of motorcycles. And I wanted a Honda 100, and my brother wanted the Yamaha 100, and mine was $440. So I got a job. 6 months later, told my dad, I said, I got my half of the money. And he said, you want a Honda? And I said, yes, sir. And he said, okay, we'll go down there. Me and my brother, and he said, then we'll go to the Yamaha shop. So went to the Honda shop, told the guy which one I wanted. He said, it's $440. I laid down my 220, and my dad pulled a pen out of his pocket. And he said, I want a cosign so he can make payments on the other half of it. We thought he was going to pay for half, and we were paying. He didn't pay for nothing. So now we got payments. So you got to keep working. And,
Sure.
we just graduated to bigger motorcycles. And, I mean, from the time I was a little kid, I just wanted the Harley Davidson motorcycle. You wanted a Harley.
Yeah, absolutely.
And from Harleys, you want choppers and different things. So it's just kind of that mini bike lit a fuse, and it's still burning.
So you were working, you were making payments. I mean, so your dad taught you some really valuable lessons there that I know you look back on, you say, wow, you know what? That's a dad being a dad. So that's wonderful. And, I see you've got 2 girls. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. I got 2 girls, and they both work up here with me. They're working now, and I have 3 grandkids. And so 2 of them were up here a lot. So they were here yesterday. So we've got a big field next to us. And so we went out and riding the dirt bikes in the field.
Sure.
One's 5 and one's 7. So they're riding. One of them's riding the same motorcycle that I bought for their mama, 32 years ago. So
Isn't that something?
It's a family deal. Yeah.
So how about the Honda, the original Honda you had? No.
I don't have that one anymore, but my knucklehead buddy, Richard Rollins from Gas Monkey,
Sure. Yeah, I know Richard.
He's a good friend. And so he went out and he found his, a bike like his original first Yamaha. And so he went out and found it wasn't my exact bike, but the same model and color and everything. He went out and bought it for me a year or so ago.
That's very cool. I was wondering if you had one, because I go to Mecum every year, and it's always interesting to see the guys that are there laying down big money for those old Honda 70s and things like that.
You know why, Mario? Because we want to turn the clock back.
Exactly.
We don't like the way the clock is going. We want it back the other way.
Yeah, we're trying to rewind everything, aren't we? So
we're trying. It's like it's not our. How old are you, Mario?
59.
Okay, so I'm 65, but so you're a baby boomer, and the problem that I see is, when we were kids, you grew up outside. You were always outside. Where did you grow up at? In
Ohio.
In Ohio. So in Ohio, little Mario, and in Dallas, little Ricky was outside all the time. So you had a bicycle, and all your buddies had bicycles.
Yep.
So you were always on that bicycle, and you went everywhere. And your mom didn't worry about you. You left when you went outside in the morning, and you came back when the street lights came on. And
that's exactly it.
And so you're always outside riding a bicycle or playing baseball, football, basketball, skateboards, throwing, whatever. We used to go hunting with BB guns and stuff. How many kids in your neighborhood do you see outside playing?
Very few.
Very few.
It used to be, I could, you'd walk out in the neighborhood and all the kids were outside. We were all ganging up. We were playing, might be playing a pickup football game or baseball, riding around, going out to the state park, doing different things. But, we weren't allowed to stay in the house. Our mom told us, get out. All right, get out.
My mom did too.
And then when I would get in trouble and I would get grounded, I was the oldest and I had 2 little brothers, and I would just drive them crazy until my mother said, get the hell out. And then I was back out again. So that's usually the way it went.
but that's how the world has changed, you know. So now, like my grandkids, the two that come up here all the time are 5 and 7. Well, you know, it's easy to say, you know, you want them outside, you want them outside, you want them outside. And when they're up here, they're riding, you know, I got 2.5 acres here at Strokers. So they're riding bicycles and they're riding their mini bikes and stuff like that. But it's a different world. So, you know, at 7 years old, my brother and I used to ride 3 or 4 miles to a fishing hole that we like. You know, we'd leave before daylight. We'd come back at, you know, just about dusk. Can you imagine kids doing that today? You can't, because the world is too mean. The world has changed. You know, when I grew up, it's all about peace and love and, you know, and harmony. And today it's just it's a different world. And, you know, you have to be aware of, you know, people with bad intentions. And it's sad, but it's out there.
You know, I love telling the story. I've told it before, but what really did it for me with choppers especially is that we lived in Cleveland at times before we moved out on the farm, and me and my buddies were waiting for newspapers to deliver newspapers at the Rexall Pharmacy on the corner, and these guys rode up on these choppers, and we were just little boys on our bikes, and we were just, of course, blown away, and we thought that was so cool. And a couple of days later, when we had our tip money, we used to go get French fries at this little diner. We'd just get a Coke and a big platter of French fries. And one of them bikers came walking in, and he recognized us kids and stuff, and he came over and talked to us for a few minutes, and he bought our food. I was done after that, because I'm like, those guys are cool as hell.
Right.
You know, and I'm gonna be one of them guys. And you know, and that's what just set the fire. And you know, and I love talking to all the guys in the industry and gals and stuff, because everybody has a similar type story that lit that fire, you know, and it's a wonderful thing. So what really lit your fire to get you into custom motorcycles?
You know, when I raised my kids, I lived on 3 acres in Irving. So we had a house, and then I had like it was almost like a mother-in-law house behind it that somebody had built. And then I turned it into this big, nice, one of my buddies said a man cave. One of my buddies said Rick had a man cave before there was such a thing as a man cave, you know. And so it was 4 rooms, and so I kept my bikes in one room. We had, you know, icebox full of beer and a stereo playing, and I had a hot rod car in one of them, and it was just a place where we could all gather. And, you know, we would cook out, and the kids would ride their motorcycles, and everybody would meet at my place, because they could just kind of roam around there. And then we'd you know, where you want to go? Well, we want to go ride our motorcycle somewhere, eat a burger, drink a beer, ride somewhere else. And so, you know, we'd talk about, you know, we all wanted to be in the motorcycle industry. Yeah, you know, that'd be cool. And, you know, what's the perfect biker bar? Well, you know, the way the bars are. Hey, Mario, it's your turn to go check the bikes, you know, and you go out and you push the front door open and you look out there. You come back and you say, my bike's fine, but somebody knocked, you know, that was the deal. One guy said, no, the perfect biker bar is glass. So you could sit there, you can look out the windows and see your bike. And I said, no, the perfect biker bar, you can get a beer and walk outside. You know, walk around the bikes and look at bikes and drink a beer and eat a hamburger and picnic tables and live music. And they said, yeah, but you know, you can't ever, that'll never happen. And I said, no, that'll never happen, but that would be the perfect. Well, I made it happen. You know,
You proved them wrong.
I proved them wrong. I proved myself wrong, because I didn't think it would ever happen. You know, when I'm in my 20s or 30s, you know, I didn't think it'd ever happen. And, you know, I was reading Easy Rider magazine one day, and I noticed they had, Joe Teresi was opening up some Easy Rider stores.
Yeah.
And I thought, man, that'd be cool. Why can't somebody open one up in Dallas, you know? And I saw, well, they got one opening up in Austin. Well, they got one opened in Chicago, and they had one open in Detroit. And I thought, man, I wish somebody had opened one in Dallas. You could see parts from Arlen Ness and Donnie Smith and Pat Kennedy and Dave Perowitz and all these cool cats. And wouldn't that be cool? The Harley shop didn't have no custom parts. They had Harley parts.
That's
So
it.
I thought, man, that would be cool. I wish somebody had opened one up. And wait a minute, why can't that guy be me? Why
Sure.
can't I be that guy? And I said, you can't be that guy. You got a wife and 3 kids at home. You got a mortgage, and you've been at the same job for 20 years. And I thought, well, 20 years, I could retire. You know, I'm only 38 years old. I could retire and start my own. Well, there's no way you can do it, but make a phone call. Well, I'm going to make a phone call. And I made a phone call, and I talked to the people, and and I had no intentions of it happening. I just wanted to tell my buddies, yeah, I checked on that, and you got to have $3 million in the bank, and you got to be able to, and all that. And I hit roadblock after roadblock after roadblock, and any one of them could have stopped me. But the further the ball rolled, the more momentum it had. And so I went through those roadblocks. I went around them and over them and under them and beside them, and it just kept going. And then I remember talking to my brother, and I'm thinking, I told him, I said, this damn thing could happen. It could happen. And he said, well, you better figure out if you want it to happen or not. And I said, I just never thought it would get this far. And he said, do you want it to happen? And I said, I want it to happen more than anything. And so I had a conference call with the big boss to be an Easy Riders franchise in Dallas, and had a phone call with the big boss. And my brother was on the conference call from his law office in Houston. At that time, he hadn't started his own company yet. He was still a partner in another firm. And the guy said, "Hey, I got your financials and all that. Everything looks good, but what about a partner? You need a money man." And I said, "No, I don't have a money man." And they said, "What about your brother?" And I said, "No, I'm gonna do the deal by myself." And he said, "You don't have enough money." I said, "Well, I was going to get an SBA loan." And he said, "You're a middle class white guy with long hair. You're not going to get an SBA loan." And I said, "Well, I'm not. I don't do partners." And he said, "Well, I appreciate your interest, and it's a cool story and all that, but we're going to keep looking for somebody in Dallas. And, if you want to keep pursuing your deal, just keep in touch with us. But we're going to keep looking for somebody in Dallas." I thought I was going to start crying right there on the phone. I mean, I was just totally heartbroken. And then my brothers told the guy, he said, you don't know Rick Fairless very well. When Rick Fairless decides he wants to do something, he makes it happen. And the guy said, "Okay, well, you just keep doing it, but I don't think you can do it. I don't think you can do it without bringing in an influx of cash." And I kept pursuing it. And about a month later, his secretary called and said that he was going to be in Dallas because his niece was graduating from SMU, and he'd like to meet me for breakfast. I said, "Absolutely." And we met for breakfast, and 5 hours later we left that restaurant. And he said, "You're my guy in Dallas. You get the deal done." And I said, "I'm going to get it done. I'm going to get the deal done." And I got it done. So we were Easy Riders, which was awesome for a few years. And then Easy Riders decided, hey, we're a magazine, we're a publisher, not a motorcycle franchise. So we're going to, all you guys got to either change names or close. And he flew me to his house in Florida, and he said, "Look at this. This guy don't pay his royalties." He said, "I got, 25, 30 stores, and the only Easy Riders franchise that pays its royalties is Rick Fairless." And I said, "Well, get rid of them and let me." And he said, "No, everybody has the same contract." And so I had opened Stroker's Ice House, my bar and grill. And so I just changed it from Easy Riders Dallas to Stroker's Dallas, and best thing I did.
Well, when you talk about that, it's really interesting because the perseverance you talk about in getting this venture going, it's very similar to the top builders like yourself out there in the country. You guys, you're putting together a bike, you might hit a roadblock, it's like, okay, this is
Hey, Mario, drop the mic. drop the mic. There ain't no mic. You're going to hit roadblocks.
Exactly.
Anything
Exactly.
that you want to do that's worth doing, you're going to hit roadblocks. It's how bad do you want to do it?
You work through it. And
Work
that's that
through it.
perseverance, and you work through it and stuff. So I want to pop up a picture. We could grabbed a couple of pictures we want to talk about. So tell me, this is an old picture here.
Yep. So that was 1979, and that's my wife. We got married in '79, and so we were at my grandma and grandpa's house in Sayre, Oklahoma. And
Okay.
so we went up there, and my grandma, we weren't married yet, and my grandpa died in '77, and so we went up there to spend the weekend with my grandma. And so it got late, and she said, "Okay, Susan, you're sleeping in this room, and Ricky, you sleep in this room." And I said, "Well, Grandma, we sleep together." And she said, "No, no,
Not my house.
you're not going to do that." And I said, "Grandma, we're going to get married in November. We're getting married in November." And she said, "Do I have your word that you're getting married in November?" And I said, "Yes, ma'am." And she said, "Okay, I don't like it, but go ahead." And so that's what I think about when I see that picture.
Yeah, that's awesome because it shows you that times have changed. Now you talked about, you said when you got going that you've been working the same job for 20 years. So what was that job that you were working in?
Remember earlier I'd said that my great uncle is the one that started me on motorcycles, those mini
Yeah.
bikes. Well, he had a ranch in East Texas. Well, he owned some paint stores and a paint. He was a paint manufacturer for commercial paint called Roach Paint Company.
Okay.
So when I was a kid, he'd say, maybe I put that on Do Not Disturb if I know how, but I don't. He said, I'd be 9 years old. He'd say, "Ricky, we call him Sarge." He'd say, "Ricky, what are you going to do when you grow up?" And I'd say, "I want to run a paint store for you, Sarge." And he'd say,
Right.
which one you want to run? And I lived in Irving, so I'd say, "I want to run that store in Irving." Well, I ran that store for 20 years.
Outstanding.
So
Now, did you start messing around with colors and stuff like that? And
I just always liked colors. I remember, getting a tie-dye shirt and wearing it to school when I was 12, and loved it. And I remember being probably 13 or something, and I had my mom bought me a peace sign. So, it was and I don't wear jewelry other than my wedding ring, but I had a peace sign necklace, and I was so proud to wear that peace sign necklace. I just was always about colors and peace and all that.
sure, that's awesome. That's a good mindset to have, though.
Yeah.
So I think we got some more pictures. So this is one that takes us back a little ways. But
Yeah.
what's this all about?
Well, those are the Dallas Stars. So the Dallas Stars, the Dallas Stars were back when they won the Stanley Cup in '99.
I
They
remember
were
that.
they were really good customers of mine. And so these guys and actually these guys, Billy Guerin, the guy to my left, is with the blue shirt on. He
Yeah.
was playing he came in to play the Stars when he was playing for the Edmonton Oilers. And we
Okay.
got to be buddies. So whenever he'd come to town, he'd come in and drink a beer and we'd kind of hang out. And we wound up building him a couple of bikes. But I think this picture was when he was with the Edmonton Oilers and he brought these guys over.
That's very cool. Very,
Yes.
very cool.
So I got to be buddies with him and then a bunch of the Dallas Stars. And it was, this was late '90s and it was an awesome time.
Yeah, that's neat. And then obviously, we see the Easy Rider of Dallas. So that was back, before things changed.
Yes,
and
sir.
Stoker. So that's incredible. So I think we got a few more photographs. Let's pop this one up. I love this picture. All right. So tell me about this and who is that in the picture with you?
So that's my youngest child, Lena. I call her Biggin. And Biggin's here now, but both my girls work here, and she was just in the office a second ago. They we used to go to these motorcycle shows, just kind of around DFW. And so that's my Shovelhead. The maroonish one, burgundy one is my Shovelhead, which I still have. and behind me is my panhead, which I still have. They don't look like that anymore.
Right.
But, and then my other daughter is probably the one that took the picture, even though she wasn't much older than that. So there's another picture of all three of us, with the two girls holding up the trophies. I just had to make sure that I always had two trophies so one could hold up each one. Each one of them had to have a trophy. But you can see I'm wearing Arlen Ness t-shirt, and
Yeah, I see that.
he was my guy, and I'm lucky that I got to be good friends with Arlen Ness, and I'm still good friends with his son Corey and his two grandsons. And that's the Ness family. They're the first family of custom motorcycles. They're royalty.
Well, I see, Corey's such a great guy. Arlen, of course, was, the absolute legend. And Corey he's carrying that tradition. And, that's a hard thing to do, is carry on that tradition and that level, of respect. And he does that well. But, I got to tell you, the girls in your family, just like, Parowitzes and stuff, I see the same thing happening for you. And I get to see, we see Lena around doing things like, doing stuff with, she did some stuff with Marilyn with the Strider bike. You did the Strider bike and stuff like that. And just beautiful work. And I mean, that's something as a father, you must be tremendously proud of.
Oh, it's very proud to be able to ride side by side with my daughter, and to have my daughter be able to get on any of my custom bikes and go for a ride with me. And, it's a cool deal. My other daughter, they're a year and a half apart, and my oldest daughter doesn't ride anymore, but I get so proud to be able to work side by side with her,
Yeah.
to have both my daughters here. It's just something very, very humbling, and knowing that, they'll carry on my legacy if they choose to. They may not choose to, I don't know, but if they do, it's here.
Yeah, you never know. They may or they may not. I mean, but the thing is, I can tell you, just from my perspective and what other people say, I mean, you have the utmost respect in the industry. And Lena, she's earned her own respect.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's spectacular. It's like Jody Perowitz. Jody's earned her respect.
Yeah, so Lena and Jody are best friends. So
I know they are.
They just got back from Florida. They went to Florida for 3 or 4 days, and so they were there right after bike week. But they talk on the phone every day, and Jody's, the epitome of class, and her dad is, so it's just. It's just very cool that the Fairless family and the Perowitz family are such good friends.
Yeah, it's a great thing to see, and that's one thing I love about the industry is it's just the utmost respect, kindness. There's always people willing to help each other out. And that's one thing that I think outsiders, from looking from the outside in, they don't see the camaraderie that exists. And that is true, in Blue. I mean, the fact that were willing to come on and talk to us, I just, that's phenomenal, and it's just a courtesy that folks like yourself are always willing to extend, and you do it with others.
Well, my goal is to leave the industry better than I found it.
Absolutely.
And one of the things that I do that I enjoy doing is motivational speaking. So I've actually lectured out at TCU, Texas Christian University, 3 times. Now the COVID has interrupted all of that.
Sure.
But I've lectured at TCU. I've lectured at DePaul University twice. I've lectured for some different companies, to try to motivate people. And, and the whole end of the motivational speech is always the same. They'll show pictures of the bikes and the parties and all the stuff, and things that happen, and Rick's living his dream and all that. And then, but what I say at the end is always the same. If a dumbass like me can be successful, anybody can. You just have to want it. You just have to have the work ethic to get out and to do it. I mean, every opening up my own store, it started with a thought that well, this never will happen, but I'm going to take that first step and see how far I get. And 27 years later, I'm still here.
Well, vision means nothing without determination.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
if you're determined, you can make anything happen. And I think, you telling people that, and I hope people hear that, and if you got something you really want it, go for it.
Yeah.
Go for it, because
it's how bad do you want it?
exactly.
How bad do you want it? Do you just want to do it if it's easy, and once it gets hard, you don't want to do it no more? Or you want to give up? Well, then, you may not ever get it.
See, to me, when it gets hard, that's when I get more determined.
Yeah.
Because then I want to persevere over it, and you're cut from the same cloth. We're basically, we're baby boomers, we learned from the people who knew what grit and determination was, and we were fortunate to have that passed on to us.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's pop up another picture and talk about this one. So, you know what? I just absolutely love it. Between the bike, the backdrop, there you are. I mean, this is what I think about when I think about Rick. I think about colors. I think about funky colors. I think about vibrance. I think about, in color, Rick, it kind of, to me, it's that color just describes you visually. It's those colors.
Yeah, and that's when I was a kid, they'd say, "Hey, Rick, what's your favorite color?" And I'd say all of them. I just love that. So that backdrop is painted here now at Strokers. That's a bike that we did for Allstate Motorcycle, which usually when we build a bike for Allstate Motorcycle, they tour it for 3 or 4 or 5 years, and then they give me the option to buy it back, and usually I do. And I want to buy that one back, but because of COVID, that one's sitting in a warehouse in North Carolina or somewhere for the past 2 years, and I can't get it back because I don't own it. And the people at Allstate, have changed hands, and they're all these different people, and so that beautiful bike is just sitting in that warehouse. I want it back.
Absolutely.
Call that bike Eileen, because that's my grandma's name. I want Eileen back in Dallas, Texas.
Now, did Allstate take that bike out on?
Yes, that bike was on tour for 2 years or 3 years. We had a big unveiling. I did that. Zach Ness built the bike, and we unveiled them at the Roar on the Shore in Erie, Pennsylvania, on stage in front of all these people, and
Great.
toured the country. And now it's just sitting in that warehouse, and I can't. Allstate's pulled the plug on their Allstate motorcycle program. They pulled the plug on it with the intent to restart it at some point, but they hadn't restarted yet.
Well, I think maybe we need to do a grassroots effort and find all those people that follow us, follow you, and everything else that have Allstate insurance and tell them, sell the damn bike back to Rick, right?
Sell the bike back to Rick.
Yeah. That'll be what it's called. Sell the bike back to Rick. So
yeah,
but gorgeous bike. And I didn't know that it was unveiled in Erie. So I grew up very close to Erie because we grew up right on the border. So spent a lot of time in Erie, Presque Isle, that area. There's some good riding out that part of the country, I got to tell you.
Yeah, there is. We did, when they quit doing the rally, the guy that was doing it had a heart attack and died. But we would do this big ride, like the Thursday before the ride or before the event. They had this big ride, and it's the coolest thing. You're riding like 40 or 50 miles, but you're going through all this country roads, and everybody knows, you're in this rural area, and everybody knows, hey, the bikes are going to, they're out there with the American flags, and they're sitting there. And I mean, you're passing tens of thousands of people just lining these farm roads, just waving the flags. And it's just so very cool and very humbling to be a part of that.
It is. I've had some people reach out to me asking if we do a ride in conjunction with the Geneva, Ohio has a little rally that's up there and stuff. And So we've talked about possibly doing something because Ashtabula County, which is that neighboring county there, that's we've got a whole bunch of covered bridges. There's really cool sights to see. It'd be a lot of fun to do. So eventually maybe we'll get that together and do a ride for those folks out there and see if we can raise a little money for some charities and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
So I think we got some more pictures up. Let's pop another one up here. So I want to talk about this because I think this is something, you know, I obviously know a lot of you guys are hamsters. You're a hamster, obviously. You know, just talked about, you know, Dave's a hamster. Carl Pusser, a good friend of mine, just, you know, became a hamster this past year and stuff like that.
Hold on, man. Why'd you got to bring Pusser's name up? You're going to make my head hurt talking about Carl Pusser. Oh,
What?
please.
Yeah. He pays me for plugs, okay? So
Carl
no,
I don't call him Carl Pusser. I just call him Pusser.
Pusser, there you
Carl
go.
Pusser, yeah. So Pusser's a great guy. He got into the hamsters last year, and it's long overdue. You know, he does some cool work. He's a great guy. His wife is a great person, and it's just, you know, I'm proud.
Yeah, Sydney's wonderful.
She's wonderful. I'm proud to be. Lena and I are both proud to be friends with Pusser and his wife, Mr. and Mrs. Pusser.
Yeah, I'm actually not too far from where his uncle was the sheriff there. So
Right. Yeah.
if you leave here and you head over to go to Shiloh National Cemetery there in Battlefield, you pass right through there and you see the signs up, you know, home with Sheriff Pusser and everything else. So
Buford Pusser.
Buford Pusser.
Yeah.
So, but tell folks, you know, for people that don't know about the hamsters, I think it's really important, you know, not just about, you know, the fact that it's a great group of people, but all the good work you guys do.
So the hamsters is it's a very elite riding group of people. A lot of us are in the industries, but a lot of us aren't. And I think there's 350 or so members from all over the world. And, you know, it started out with just, you know, Arlen Ness, Donnie Smith, Dave Perowitz, and a few guys, you know, riding around. And, you know, Donnie Smith printed up they wanted to start this deal, and they called it the hamsters because that's what I think Perowitz's wife called it. And it just kind of took off, you know, since 1978. And I got in 1999. And when I got in, it was, you know, it was like one of my kids being born or when I got married. You know, it's just a very, very cool deal to be a part of. And it's very elite deal. Every year we do lots of charity work, but every year in Sturgis, we have this big charity event where we raise money for different organizations, but one of them is called, I think it's called Lifescape. It's like a home for raising money for children that need money, you know, children with disabilities. And I think almost every year we raise between $300,000 and $400,000 in one night.
Yep.
One night, yeah.
That big night. Now you've got that, and everybody stays up on Hamster Hill, correct?
They stay up on Hamster Hill. When they were building those condos, you know, behind everybody stays in that Holiday Inn there in Spearfish, and they say, hey, they're building these condos, and you know, where all the hamsters are going to buy them up and all that. And I said, yeah, and they said, come on, let's go meet over here, and you know, we can get our name on those. Some we get those condos for they're all gone. And I said, yeah, I want to get. My wife said, don't you even think we're going to own property in South Dakota. And I said, honey, it'll be so cool. She said, forget it. So I still stay at the Holiday Inn.
Close enough, though. Close enough.
Yeah, close enough.
But yeah, it's, you know, I think it's phenomenal that you guys all come in the spirit, you know, to, you know, for one another, to be there for one another. I know you tight-knit group and stuff and a bunch of great guys, you know, but the fact that you've taken, you know, what is a camaraderie and you have this far outreaching, you know, helping others, and that spirit of giving is phenomenal to me. And it makes me proud to know a lot of you guys, because everybody I know that's a hamster, stand-up individual. I mean, you guys, you do really, really well on the ones that you allow in, because you make it a good, not just not just a group, but a great group and quality individuals. And I think that's important for people to know.
You know, it was the Sturgis Motorcycle Museum and Hall of Fame has always been a big deal to us, and I got elected into that Hall of Fame in 2013. I've had a couple of different bikes in there. I've got a bike in there now. So Perowitz called me last year about this time and said, "Hey, we do the big charity for the Lightscape Foundation for the kids," but he said the museum needs some help. So we want to do some stuff for the museum. He said, "Can you bring a couple of things that maybe we could auction off for the museum?" And I said, "Well, I don't know what I have. Let me look around." And I had a gas tank here in my office. It's been here since 2006, I think. And so it was a gas tank that I took to Sturgis in 2006. And the girl that was working for me, Megan, I told her, I said, we had a setup in Sturgis, and I said, any of the big shots in the industry come by, or any famous people come by during the week, have them sign this gas tank. So it was signed by Sugar Bear and Arlen Ness and all these people, but it was also signed by Steven Tyler was there that year from Aerosmith. So some of those guys signed it. And so I told Perowitz, I said, "Yeah, I got this gas tank," and this, Arlen hadn't been dead too long, and so the center part of the gas tank I saved for Arlen, so it says Arlen Ness. And so I brought that gas tank up there to auction off. And it's like I said, it's been sitting in my office for 15 years, just on a shelf. We got $10,000 for that gas tank for the museum. So isn't that cool?
That's outstanding. Yeah, it feels really good. I did a set of wings. I do these angel wings. I only do them for the Legends ride for Woody.
Yeah.
And this year they're all out of silverware. Each it's knives and spoons, and I make them look like feathers. And we do these. I do these angel wings, and they raised $5,000 last year. So I was pretty proud of that.
That's pretty good.
It makes you feel really good. So let's pop up another picture, because this is just another one that's just more you.
Yep.
Look
So
how
that's one of the walls painted out there with my daughter Biggin, Lena, out there, and so that's one of the logos that I like to use. We call it the Cartoon Rick. Actually, I wore that shirt yesterday with that on there. And
so the peace sign, is that symbolic of that piece of jewelry you had years ago?
That's exactly what it is.
All right, that's very cool. That is very cool. Now let's bring up another one. So tell me about this bike.
So the Coors bike, back when I first opened my bar 25 years ago, I wanted to build a bike to publicize my bar, and I was going to call it Ricky Light, or something to do with beer. I wanted it to be a beer, so we fabricated the gas tanks to look like tall boys, beer.
Yep.
You can't hardly tell, but the legs on the front end are painted like pool sticks, and that's why it's got the pool balls and stuff. And so we sold a bunch of beer, and the big shot from Coors came over, and I showed him what we were doing, and he said, "We would like to have you do that bike for us and call it for Coors Original, paint it gold and all that." And I said, this deal's already kind of far down the deal, and I want to keep it to publicize. And he said, "You keep the bike, but give us like a 2-year contract where you take it to that American Airlines Center, when Tom Petty or somebody's in town, we can use it, and we'll pay for everything." And so I did, and that's how it became the Coors bike. And then I wound up selling it. I had a guy that wanted to buy it, and I didn't want to sell it, but he paid me a lot of money for it, and he bought some other bikes from me. So that bike now resides in Austin, Texas.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a very, very cool bike. It's a lot of fun. It's and it's the devil's in the details on that bike for sure.
Yeah.
That's what
when we did that bike, we shot it in Laughlin, Nevada. So I took it up there, and I rode it out to the desert, and they did this photo shoot, and it was just starting to get dark as I was riding it back into Laughlin. And Laughlin is one big strip,
Sure.
basically. So as
Yep.
I start coming into town, people are seeing me on that thing, and people were going crazy, and so they're flashing their cameras. I think that was before the cell phone cameras, actually. So they're flashing the lights on the cameras, and you know how the Super Bowl, when they're kicking off and you see all those cameras,
Oh yeah.
that's what it looked like. It's because it was just getting dark and lights were flashing everywhere. And I'm coming down there and I'm thinking, hey, this is kind of cool.
That's very cool.
Yeah,
That is very cool. That'd be a very surreal feeling.
it was. It was.
That's awesome. I love that story. So tell me. So let's talk about the businesses. I mean, we have we have Stokers. We have RF Customs. You sell bikes. I think you do insurance. I mean,
Yeah.
you got the Ice House. I mean, you've got a lot of things going on.
Yeah, so we got the motorcycle shop and the barn grill. So it's Strokers Dallas, which is my custom motorcycle shop. Strokers Ice House, which is my barn grill. And the reason I wanted that barn grill, because you're going to ride a motorcycle and come to a motorcycle shop. Maybe you needed some service work done, or maybe you're just looking around, or maybe you're just looking for a place to ride. So you're going to go there ever so often. You don't go to a motorcycle shop every weekend. You just go. I thought, well, if I had a barn grill, you can ride up there and you can drink a beer and eat a hamburger. So that's why from the day one, my original business plan was a motorcycle shop and a barn grill. So when I was getting the motorcycle shop open, they're saying, okay, now let's wait till we get the shop open and do the barn grill. Let's wait till we get that. So I did that. And then as soon as I got that done, I started on the barn grill, and it took me a while to get it done because of you got a motorcycle shop and a barn grill on the same piece of property. That doesn't sound too, but I got it done, and that's the best thing I ever did was doing that because that's the best advertising. People, yesterday, what time is it? 1:10. Yesterday at 2 o'clock, I had 1,000 people here.
Right.
Saturday at 2 o'clock, I had 1,000 people here. So we got beer tub girls selling beer. You got bikes roaring in and out. You got the music playing, and I'm like a overwhelmed watch. I'm just bouncing off the walls, and I'm going to the bar, and I'm shaking hands, and I'm taking pictures, and it's just that's what I live for is doing that. And both my daughters, they're extremely good at greeting people and talking to them and showing them stuff and selling them stuff. My sister's over at the bar, and my wife runs the office. My brother-in-law is the IT guy, and it's just a very cool deal. And when all those people are here and all that chaos is going on, I'm in my element. I'm in my
Absolutely.
element right there. That's why I get up in the morning.
So now the insurance part about it. I mean, that was one thing I didn't know until I did some looking. And so, how did you get into that?
So I was building bikes for Allstate for about 10 years, and I had started an insurance company because we sell used bikes. We sold Big Dog and American Iron Horse, and so we were selling
Yep.
a ton of bikes. Well, if somebody wanted to buy a bike on a Saturday or Sunday or something, well, you can't get a hold of your insurance agent. Well, you can't get the finance package done without insurance. So
Right.
I sent Biggin to insurance school, and I said, you need to be an insurance agent to facilitate bike sales. You're buying a bike, call your insurance guy. Well, he's not there on Saturday. Sign here. We'll write your insurance through Dairy
Put
Line.
a binder on it, and you're going to be covered.
Absolutely. So the Allstate used to say, why don't you expand that and be an independent insurance agent that specializes in Allstate. And I fought him for a couple of years, and then I thought, you know what? I met a guy, and he came in, and he was real good, and so I hired him, and the insurance thing has really taken off. So we do motorcycle insurance, automobile insurance, homeowners, renters insurance. We do business insurance. So it's gotten to be a pretty good little company for me.
Yeah, and so I mean, really, I mean, if you're a biker and you want to work with somebody that can relate to you,
That's right.
go see you. Get all those services taken care of in one stop. So,
Yeah.
now, I see all the time when you're having your events there, all the people, all the stuff. I mean, it's a destination, and I think that's a lot of times when people are looking at, riding somewhere, they look at stops, but they don't necessarily look at destinations. And I think, people need to consider that's a destination. I've not been there yet personally, but I can't wait till I do get down. Next time I'm in Texas, I'm definitely coming by because I want to experience it all firsthand rather than, through the internet and Facebook and things like that. So tell people, if they want to come out, how should they plan a trip coming out to see you?
We get people here from all over the world. I had a guy here yesterday from Canada that I talked to for a while. People can shoot me an email, rick@strokersdallas.com, and I'll give you a list of hotels and stuff. But people are here every day from all over the country or even around the world. And there's a million hotels. I mean, we're right in the heart of Dallas, Texas. We're 2 miles from Love Field, which is the original airport in Dallas, and we're 4 miles from downtown Dallas, straight down the street that I'm on. So, we're right in the middle of the big city, and it's a lot of stuff happening and a lot of cool things to do and cool places to eat and cool hotels. And so people come in and they plan their vacation around Strokers Dallas, around hanging out and all that. And we have a list of things to do while you're here. My assistants put together a bunch of things where people can go and hang out and interesting things to see while you're in Dallas. So it's a cool deal. We had a German TV crew here 2 weeks ago. They're shooting a documentary on Harley Davidson and the lifestyle, and they flew in from Germany to spend a day with me, hanging out and filming and doing all kinds of cool stuff. So that was pretty cool.
That's awesome. I'll have to have my family here check that out. So, I noticed on, one thing I want people to know too, if they go to your webpage, you always have bike of the day.
Yeah.
And t-shirt of the day, correct?
Yeah, and it's a lot more than that because we've just redone our website. We redo it every few years, and so we're adding a bunch of my custom bikes on there. I think right now there's probably 30 or 40 of them. Well, there's still another 100 or so. So my guy is slowly adding stuff to it, and and with the YouTube and we got a YouTube channel, and we've done hundreds and hundreds of videos. Lena and I will go for a ride, and we've got cameras on here, and then we got those Sena helmets where you can talk into it. And so as we're riding, we're talking to each other, so we do that kind of stuff. And it's just, it's a very visual world, so we're big into doing pictures and videos and just different things like that, just to get people kind of involved. But, if people come out here, we can get them a tour of the place. We're 2.5 acres. I got 50,000 feet under roof, and it's just kind of a somebody, I've heard 1,000 different descriptions. The guy from Canada said it's like Sturgis every day of the year, at Rick's place, or it's like Disneyland for bikers or whatever. But it's just a fun place. It's very eclectic. I got tie-dye cows on the roof, and I got a 20-foot lifestyle or life-size tie-dye giraffe. I got a big boy. You remember Big Boy?
Oh, yeah.
I got a 7-foot big boy out there. It's just got dinosaurs all over the place. It's just a fun place for people to come out.
Well, it's kind of like a Six Flags for people on two wheels.
It is. It's it's part a museum. One guy that used to come here from Wisconsin, I think, and the corporate office is in Dallas. And he said, I come to Dallas once a year for the corporate meetings. I always come to Strokers. And he said, every time I walk into Strokers, it's like I'm walking back into 1969. And I take that as a compliment. I want people to see, I want them to come out here and see how it used to be. I wanted to see that, we're not the Harley shop. The Harley shops are big and beautiful. They're awesome. I don't want to be that. I
Well,
don't want to be, they're like a big Nordstrom's or something. It's like, oh, look, motor clothes over. Oh, you got your park. Oh, the surf. Oh, they got a pool table and a popcorn. I don't want to be that guy. I want people to come in here and have a hell of a good time and, leave out here and get home and they can't sleep because they keep thinking about strokers, how cool it is out here. And it is that cool.
Well, one of my favorite books I ever read was a book called Summer Love, talking about the music scene, 68, and all centered around everything that was going on and everything else. And I think, Stoker's perfectly what you've done, is you bring back that bygone era to me that I think was a wonderful and beautiful era in our history. And that's totally cool.
Yes, Strokers is just a place for motorcycles and cars. And I've always said when people come to Strokers, I don't care if they're riding a Harley or a Honda or they got a Ford Pinto in the parking lot. I don't care. And I don't care if they're Ross Perot, who was one of my clients before he died, or if it's an unemployed cook. Everybody gets treated the same with the same respect.
And that statement, that is a mantra of mine. I love that. Everybody, deserves the same respect, be treated with dignity and honor. I absolutely love that. That just totally speaks to my heart. And speaking of the cars, I mean, you've got a Rat Rod show coming up here very soon, right?
Yep. On Saturday, we got a Rat Rod show. So these guys like the car behind me, the guy next to me, his name is Jim Davis. They call him Jimmy Smooth.
Okay.
He is a crazy cat, and he's kind of the leader of all these guys, and they're coming from Missouri and Kansas and El Paso. I mean, they come from all over, and they'll drive these things down from all over parts of the country. And I mean, these are some $200,000 rat rods. These are serious rat rods, and when these guys come in, it's a swell time. I mean, it's a good deal. So they come in. They're coming in Saturday. They'll be here Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But yeah, that's always a big event.
So what kind of special things will be going on? I mean, obviously the rat rods, but some of the other things that you guys will be doing.
We kind of always do the same thing. It's just, I call it Bikes, Babes, and Beer. It's just a cool place to hang out. And, most people meet buddies up here. We've had a ton of weddings up here just from people that have met up here and they want to get married up here.
But that's very cool.
It is cool. And on this day, there'll be, 30 or 40 of these cars out here. And it's just, it adds a whole new vibe to it.
Well, Rick, I think you need to get licensed so you can perform the ceremonies. And now that would be really cool.
I could tell you a couple of stories about that, but I'm going to save them. I'm going to save those stories.
Okay, that's awesome. And then we're going to have the Spring Fling coming up. So tell me about that.
So April 8th, 9th, and 10th, we're doing a Spring Fling, which, we bring in a wet T-shirt contest and a bikini contest. And it just gets more people out here. It's to the point to where it's hard to get many more people out here. I mean, we've had over 10,000 people out here in one time before. And when it does, it's hard on me. I'm not in my 30s anymore. I'm in my 60s and it's, I'm the face of the company. So I'm the guy out there doing all the hustling and talking and moving around. And it's a cool deal. And the Spring Fling is always our biggest party of the year. And I can't wait. I can't wait for the Rat Rod deal this weekend, and I can't wait for the Spring Fling the following weekend.
I mean, that's a hell of a way to kick off the year. I mean, so for a lot of people, it's kicking off the season to a great degree, and I can't think of a better way to get things going. So, you got 2 weekends in a row. I mean, I'm telling you, if you see this, let's get out there. Get out there, see the Rat Rod show, come back out the next week, come see the bikes.
Yeah.
I know how it is. That's like your baby. You're going to be running around everywhere, and everybody wants a piece of your time. I know that's not easy, but you pull it off, and you pull it off well. And you've always been gracious. Every time I see you, amongst folks, and be it Sturgis or different things I've seen. People want to talk to you, and you've always take your time. You slow the process down, and you're one of those guys that manages to, when somebody comes up to you and they're like kind of honored to meet Rick Fairless, Rick Fairless turns the tables around and makes them feel like they're the important guest there.
Well, people say, "Oh my God, I can't believe I'm meeting you," and I always say the same thing. It's not that big of a deal, I promise. It ain't that big of a deal, But it's cool that people want to meet me. I love to meet people. I always want to know, just like I asked you, where are you from? I want to know where people are from.
Yep.
I want to know what brought them to Strokers, and so every day people will say, "Hey, this is so and so. It's their first time here," and it's humbling to know that all these people from around the globe, like I said, 1,000 people here yesterday and 1,000 people last Saturday and Sunday, 1,000 people each day come from all over the planet just to be in this place that I created. And it's like, I better not screw that up. I better keep doing things cool and neat and make sure that my staff and my daughters do stuff the way that I want them to, and they do, and I want people to have a good time when they're here.
Well, you do a great job of that, and you make it fun, and definitely make it colorful. I want to go back and talk about RF Custom Parts. Let's talk about that, because I don't know how many people are aware of, they can go there, they can buy stuff.
Yeah, so I got ching-a-linged on RF Custom Parts.
Okay, I didn't know that.
RF Custom Parts, I created, we were a Victory motorcycle dealer.
All right.
And so I created RF Custom Parts, which is just my initials, to make parts for, they asked me if I'd make some parts for Victory motorcycles, because I was making some parts for them internally. And they said, "Hey, can you make some parts, and, maybe we can carry some in the catalog and all that." And we did. And so I built this up, and then, Victory or Polaris decided to pull the plug on Victory to focus on Indian. Did I like it? No, but it was probably the right move. Those guys know a whole lot more than I do. And, obviously I think Indian's doing pretty good, but it's, we had that company rolling and it was doing good, and I had employees and we're designing parts and building parts, and then all of a sudden Polaris pulled the plug on that. And I still have the company, but we're not doing near what we used to do with it.
Sure.
The COVID has changed the world, so my employee count has dropped almost in half in the last 2 years. And so we're trying to do the same. It's just starting to get back to normal, so I don't care if you live in Dallas, Texas, or New York, or Hong Kong, or if you live in a hut on the Nile River. COVID has affected your life. It's affected the world, and things have changed. And so, I'm, like I said, I'll be 66 this year. And so I'm concentrating on taking what I have and making it better. For years, it was always like I was the big guy at the buffet. You're at the buffet and say it's pizza. You got that pizza on your plate and you're eating that pizza, but you're looking over there at the buffet line. Hey, they just put out some more pepperoni. Well, you still got 2 pieces. Yeah, but I got to get a, and so I was always that guy that I wanted more and more and more on my plate. Well, finally that guy's gone, and I just want to take what I have and refine it to be better.
Sure.
To do a
better job.
Yeah, do a better job with what I have.
And I would like to tell people here that might be listening to this. If you're a fan of Rick and his work, wow, you can go on the website. You can buy everything from T-shirts to shot glasses. There's a lot of great product there. There's a lot of cool gifts and things like that, to take advantage of. It's really, people should go there. What wonderful gifts for anybody that's a fan of psychedelic or a fan of yours.
Yeah, and not everything is tie-dye. We sell tons of black shirts too, not just tie-dye. And then, if you got some time to kill, you can go to my website, strokersdallas.com, and click on videos. Yeah, there's the website, and click on videos. And there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of cool videos, or you can just go to YouTube and
Go right to YouTube. Yep.
or go right to YouTube. But that's what this does from Strokers Dallas. It'll connect you over to our YouTube deal, and it'll kind of show you who we are and what we do, and it's just it's a lifestyle, it's who I am and what I do. And I'm lucky enough that my wife and my sister and my 2 daughters and my brother-in-law care enough to work with me, and they're all very good at what they do. And it's a cool deal. And Saturday night, went to bed, and I get to work like between 2 and 2:30 every morning, because I don't sleep much. And then So when I got to work Sunday morning, my wife said, "You didn't sleep very good. How come?" And I said, "Because I couldn't wait to get to work, because I know how busy it's going to be today. We had a great day on Saturday, and Sundays are an awesome day." And I said, "I just pumped. I'm too wired to sleep. And I only sleep like 4 hours anyway." Well, that night I slept 2 hours, and I came back up here.
So that's something it's interesting about you and others like you is, have a hard time slowing down, have a hard time relaxing, having a hard time just taking time for yourself. But I think we got a picture where you actually slowed down for yourself. So tell me about this.
Remind me to kill my wife when I get home. So one time she talked me into going to do, what do they call that? A manicure and a pedicure or something?
Yep.
So she sees, this is across the street from our house. So she sees these same 2 girls once a week. And she said, "I want you to come with me. I want you to come with me." Because, I'm always saying, "Well, what do they do over there?" "Well, how long does it take?" "What do you mean you got one doing you and you got one on your feet and one on you?" She said, "Come do it. I want you to do one." And I said, "Okay, I'll do it." She said, "There's lots of men going." I said, "Okay." And I went and did it. And then the ladies were saying, "Oh my God, he's going to be here every week. Oh my God, you're going to fall in love." And my wife said, "Oh, it's going to be the coolest thing you ever did." "You couldn't pay me to go back there, because you just sit there like this." It's like, okay, you're just doing nothing. It's just nothing's being accomplished. "Oh, your fingernails look pretty." "I don't care." "Your toenails are." "I don't care. I'm not wearing open shoes anyway."
I just got shanghaied into the same thing, first time experience, and I go in there, and it's very awkward, especially having somebody you don't know touching your feet and doing stuff, and you're like, "What the hell are you doing to me?" and everything. Yeah. And then they're going on, you're gonna, just like you said, you're gonna be coming back, you're gonna keep doing this, not going back, really not interested in it. And I had my fingernails were torn up within an hour, probably.
Yeah. So what I like to do for relaxation, there's 2 things. I like to ride my motorcycle is the number one thing I like to do. So on Saturday and Sunday mornings, about 9 o'clock, 8:30, 9 o'clock, when my people start getting here, I'll pull out one of my choppers that maybe I try to kind of take turns with them, and I'll take it out and I ride for an hour, maybe 2, to kind of clear my head. And, nobody's starting to come in yet. And then, it just kind of clears my head for the day. And then I enjoy playing golf. So I have some buddies that I play golf with. So usually once a week or once every couple of weeks, I like to, like on a Tuesday or a Wednesday when it's kind of slow, I like to go play a round of golf. And because that and riding my bike are the only things that, well, riding a motorcycle doesn't. Riding my motorcycle makes me think about this place, but it gives me free thought without, hey, Rick, on that. Hey, Rick, on this thing you need. What are you going to do about it? I can ride my motorcycle and I can just think of all these cool things that I want to do. And, T-shirt designs or motorcycle designs or people I want to do some stuff with or whatever. And then playing golf. When you're playing golf, you can't think much about anything other than what you're doing if you want to be very good at it. So I enjoy playing golf with a couple of buddies that I play with. And, you know, just I don't know. I love to work. I love what I do for a living, and I can't wait to get here every morning.
That's very cool. You know, we had this past week our guest. We had um, her
Michael,
name's Vera Blue, and she's a musician in Nashville. She
okay,
does all rock. She's from Seattle, but the reason we brought her on is she likes to jump on her bike, and that's where she gets her inspiration and writes her songs in her head and everything. And I thought that, you know, we really like that. And I love the fact that here she is, you know, this gal. She went with her mom, her and her mom, and they just the two of them. They rode in 8 states in 9 days
oh, very
and
cool.
going out. You know, it's just cool stuff. Just showing, you know, that you know the motorcycle community is such a fun, diverse group of people with all kinds of backgrounds,
Yeah,
and you know, at the head of the table, kind of showing people how to have fun, how to enjoy it. Rick, you're that guy that I see being that person that really encompasses it all and then shows us how to have a good time, gives us an opportunity to go someplace and have a great time. And you know what, Rick, I thank you from the bottom of my heart, everything you do. I'm really looking forward to getting down there and checking out the place
yeah, yeah.
personally. And that's going to definitely be happening here in the future and stuff. Um, we have each show with 3 different questions. We've got 3 questions for you that
Okay.
we're gonna pose to you and stuff. So, first question is, if you could ride with anybody, um, past or present, you know, with us or gone, who would you like to ride with?
You know, my brother's my best friend, and so anytime I get to ride with my brother is always a cool deal. So you know, that's a cool deal. The you know, I mean, the coolest person I've ever run with is the shirt I was wearing back in the '70s, and that's
Uh,
Arlen Ness. I mean, I've ridden with him many times, you know, on a group ride kind of thing, and you know, he's just a class act. And you know, I always used to say Arlen Ness is the Tom Landry of the motorcycle industry. He's just a class act.
that's a great analogy.
Yeah, yeah. So
And
that'd
then,
be that'd be my guy.
okay, and then I know you've owned a lot of bikes through the years. You've been on and off bikes, but you know, dream bike for you, what would that be?
You probably got a picture of it in there somewhere. It's my Susie bike, so you can get on my website and get under the custom bikes, and I think the Susie bike is already on there. And it's a long, stretched out chopper. It's a Pat Kennedy frame with the Sugar Bear front end.
Yep,
Got my wife's
I know the
picture.
bike.
It's got my wife's picture. It's all psychedelic, and it's got my wife's picture painted on the gas tank, and my granddaughter is on there, and I love to ride that chopper. And you know, so to me, that's like the perfect riding motorcycles. That rigid frame chopper, 28 over Sugar Bear on it. It's just a lot of fun to ride.
Yeah. Yeah, anything, you know, the Sugar Bear front ends, he does it right. I mean, I know, you know, a lot of the fellas out there use them, and you know, when I finally start building the chopper, it's going to have a Sugar Bear on the front. So
Hey, Mario, he's 82. You better
I
hurry.
know, I know. I talked to him a couple of weeks ago, and everything. You know, he wants to get things, and I hope we all can rally support because he wants to build his place out there in Sturgis, and I'd
Well,
really
he's
like to see
he's,
that
he's
happen.
got he's got the place. He's
I
got
know
the
he's got the
place.
place.
He's refining it now. He's already had it
Mhm.
opened a couple of years, and I talked to him a couple of days. I talked to him probably once a week. You need to have him on your show.
Oh, yeah, I plan on that. Yeah, he'd be a great
Oh,
guest
he's the
and
best.
stuff.
He's the best.
It's
He's like Arlen Ness. He is just a class individual,
Well,
and
you know, he's so laid back. You know, he was going to join Mondo and I this year at the Chopper Show at the Chip that we do there, and he couldn't make it. And I was like, no, we get it. But he was so apologetic, like he let us down. I was like, no, you didn't let us down. You know, you got to do what's best for you, man.
yeah, yeah, he hadn't been to Sturgis in the last 2 years because of the COVID.
No, no, I don't think his wife will let him out of the house. And he's learned to listen to Mama. So
Let me tell you a cool story. You know, so he's he's like a mentor to me, like Arlen Ness was. And so I had my 65th birthday in September. And so we go to, there's a steakhouse that I love around the corner called Pappas Brothers Steakhouse. And it's an upscale steakhouse, and I've been going there for years, and they all know me. And so my wife said, "Hey, we're gonna, we'll go to the steakhouse on your birthday. I'm turning 65." And I said, "Yeah, I was hoping we would." And she said that the girls are going to eat with us too. So there's 4 of us. So we sat at a booth in this deal. And I said, okay. So, we all 4 of us obviously could sit in the booth. And so we get there, and the lady said, "Oh, Mr. and Mrs. Fairless, your guests are here. Come on and follow me to your table." We walk right past my table, and I'm like, okay, well, and we walk over to the table. Well, it was Sugar Bear and his wife were sitting there. So he flew in from Northern California to have supper with Rick Fairless. It gives me goosebumps. How humbling is that a guy of that stature flies from, and I said, "When are you going back?" And he said, "In the morning. I just flew in to have supper with you." And it's like, oh my God, this guy is the king of the motorcycle world. And he flies in from Northern California to Dallas, Texas to have supper with this goofball, Rick Fairless. I was very humble.
But it also shows you what high esteem and just the regard everybody holds you in, Rick. And I mean, I know you're a humble guy. I think you're a guy that says to yourself, "Yeah, I'm just out here having fun and doing what I love."
I am.
But you know what? It's because you're doing what you love, what you enjoy, that really makes it, genuine to everybody. And that's what the bike world's about. We're about people that are genuine, and you definitely are a genuine individual.
Well, I appreciate it.
So last question.
Okay.
I know you've ridden in a lot of places around the world. You've done a lot of riding, but is there any place that you haven't ridden that you'd like to ride one day?
I told my wife the other day on the Rick Fairless bucket list. I was on a show called Texas Bucket List last week, which was pretty cool. But I on the Rick Fairless bucket list, I want to ride over in Europe.
Okay.
I see Michael Lichter doing it, and I see Biener, and I see Danger Dan, and all these knuckleheads that I love. They go over there and they're riding Europe on Royal Enfields or something, or BMWs or Harleys. I want to go. I want to go to Europe, and I want to ride around for a week or so. I want to be on one of them mountains where you look down and you think, I better not go off here, because if I go off here, it's just, or riding through the snow or the rivers and just doing these things with a group of 10 or 20 guys or whatever. I want to do that.
Well, it's when I was stationed in the service over in Italy, and I have family in Holland and Belgium and Denmark and stuff, we did a lot of riding, and let me tell you what, it's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
I know you would get a lot of advice from a lot of people, but if you need any advice, some cool places to stop, I've got plenty of places. Like I said, I lived there for 4 years, so I really got to know Europe. And I was born in Germany, so.
Okay. Do you have a green card? I should have asked you before I interviewed. Do you got a green card, Mario?
No, I don't. I was born on an air base in Bitburg, Germany. My dad was in Air Force. My mom was Dutch, so I got my citizenship. So I'm okay.
You're okay. Okay.
At least I hope so. Nobody's come for me anyhow.
Well, that's pretty cool that you have the story. You were born in Germany on the base, so you're an American citizen born in Germany.
Yeah, that was actually, so at that time, when I went into the service, I actually had 3 different citizenships that I could have claimed. And so I had to renounce my Dutch and German, my rights to that citizenships, so that I could go in the service as an American, and that's what I did.
Well, I appreciate your service to the country.
Well, it's one of those things I did. People thank me, and I appreciate you saying that, but it did more for me as a human being and as an individual. It taught me to respect my country. It also taught me, what an honor it is to serve at that time, but to serve others to this day. And, that's very important to me, as it is, I know, to you and others.
It helps a young man grow up. It helps a young person become a man or a woman, and I think it's cool that that women are a big part of the armed forces now, and it's just, I mean, it's just nothing is more important than your country, your family, and your country. That's God and your family and your country, and throw in their motorcycles in there, and I'm all good.
Well, and I see, what you do with Lena, your daughters and their involvement. I think that's very, very important. We've tried with this show. We've had some ladies on here. I don't know. I did an episode with Lila. She's a young girl that we brought out to the Chopper show last year. She took home some nice hardware. We featured her bike on the Chopper show page,
Right.
and she got 250,000 hits for that little mini bike of hers. And she's building a bike now, and her 9-year-old sister's building a bike.
Oh,
And their dad, AJ, last name's Everly, he's teaching them girls right. He's got them out in the shop. He's got them doing stuff that is remarkable for young ladies. And, I love the fact that you're there for your daughter, but what you and your daughter do for other young ladies in the industry, to give them the confidence to say, hey, I can do this as well.
Yeah.
To me is remarkable. And man, I just love it.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
So Rick, think, that's kind of a wrap on tonight, but you got anything parting wisdom or anything you'd like to tell the folks out there?
Yeah. I mean, what I like to say is just figure out what it is you want to do with your life and get about doing it. I mean, whether it's owning your own business or being better at what you do for a living, or change vocations because there's something else you would rather do, or, I mean, it's like I said, what do you want to do and how bad do you want to accomplish that? Because if you want to do something bad enough and you're willing to sacrifice, then you can do it. I mean, like I said, if a dumbass like me can be successful, anybody can. I promise you that.
Absolutely. And those are words of wisdom from somebody that's done it and learned it.
Yes, sir.
So, Rick, once again, thank you so much. You were awesome, as always. And, I hope everybody, goes to the page, checks it out, shows up at your place, and, make that a destination to come out to Stoker's and check out.
Yep. StokersDallas.com. And
Yep.
So check us out there. And, if you're ever in Dallas, we'd love to see you. If you reach out to me online or through the Facebook page or whatever, I always answer. Right there. I always answer all my own messages and emails, and I'd love to talk to you.
Yep. We'll be stopping by. Thanks you, sir.
Mario. Good to see you, pal.
See ya.